Hello, friends. Hello, viewers. Hope you're doing well. You're doing very good. I'm sure about that. Um, this talk is all about our current position in the economic cycle. So, economic cycle is also popularly known as business cycle. So, as we know that an economic cycle looks like a sine curve. It goes up and then goes down and then goes again up and again down. So it's like a wave. Uh, the positive wave is called as expansion, and the negative dip is called as contraction. So this is a very natural occurrence. Expansion means when the business is coming, investments are happening. Contraction means the business is shrinking and transaction is not happening. So this contraction phase is also known as recession. Now there are two demarcating lines between the expansion contraction and contraction expansion. Between expansion and contraction, the point that denotes that it will go to contraction again after expansion is called as peak. So expansion happens like that. It goes to the peak and then it starts slowly going down. Now it has gone down, it is going down, and then it stops, right? This is called trough. And after trough, the contraction is over and again expansion happens. So I personally feel that this cycle, which is mapped in an axis of GDP, which is the output, versus time, with a trend line, whether the trend line is towards up, towards down, or horizontal. I personally feel that this expansion and contraction, they go hand on hand. So like I am a doctor, right? So we know the physiology of body. The movement of anything within the body, say contraction of muscles. To contract, there should be some difference between sodium and potassium. We call sodium potassium pump that regulates the inward and outward journey of these two elements, sodium and potassium, and invites calcium. When the calcium goes inside, the muscle twitches, contracts, right? That means the muscle responds to a stimulus. So I personally feel that there is a similarity of this, business expansion contraction cycle with the muscle contraction mechanism. Muscle contraction is a response towards a particular stimulus, right? So the stimulus is a very important term, isn't it? So even this economic cycle or business cycle, we need stimulus. We need something to drive, something to push, and something to pull as well. So trough to me is that particular juncture, and peak also is the other side of the juncture. They behave in such a way that the trough attracts or invites a lot of investment like calcium, in the muscle cell, right? And when the peak happens, everything is saturated. So again, it has to go down to accommodate further investment. So recession, according to me, is a good sign that we are getting expansion again. The issue here is that when the expansion will happen, that time period has to be determined. So there are a lot of predictive models, a lot of predictions people do based on historical data, based on the dynamic data in the timestamp of GDP and the time. So as I told you that trough to expansion, something to push, we need some stimulus. So I feel that COVID-19, Amphan cyclone, and latest locust attacks in India are the stimuli, for investment. So I take these particular situations in a very positive way. Now the question, how these can invite investment? I tell you, the first investment that the India may expect is telemedicine, because people will be aware of the consequences of going to a hospital, a physical hospital. So a virtual hospital, up to a certain extent of mitigating diseases, could be beneficial. I'm not talking about surgery or investigations. I know there are limitations. I worked in 6 countries on behalf of WHO during 2007, 8, and 9, 3 years, in implementing telemedicine projects. So I know the pitfalls, limitations, and drawbacks. Despite of everything, I am telling that online consultations for chronic illness management, I'm not talking about emergencies, I'm talking about chronic illness management, which caters to 75 to 80% of the healthcare problems. The interaction between the healthcare provider and the consumers. Chronic illness management. I give one example. In every family, there is one or two person, at least one person who is hypertensive, who needs changes of dosing of antihypertensive drugs, right? Or maybe someone is diabetic taking anti-diabetic medications. It was working fine for some years, but then it is not working that well. So you need to redosing or instituting new drugs. Correct? So my dear friends, I am not talking about chest pain, heart attacks, those kind of things. I am talking about where the dosing, little consultation, adjustments, lifestyle adjustments, which can be advised by the doctor, right? So such chronic illness management based on telemedicine platform will be a good investment. The second investment is virtual dating services. People will be afraid of dating now, and you can't ask everybody and anybody to come with a COVID-19 test, right? So dating is another very important area that a lot of investments may happen. Number three, online tutoring. It's a change management, right? But we adapt to the system. Um, so online tutoring also will take off. A lot of money will be invested there as well, I'm very sure. So these are the three primary areas where I find a lot of investments. Number four, a lot of investments will happen in pharmaceutical sectors when we get COVID vaccine, when we get some medicines, approved medicines, approved by FDA to combat COVID infection. So that's why I kept it as number four, because these we are not very sure of. Number five, online gaming, gambling. So those are the key areas where the investments may happen. Okay. So as I told that this trough needs some stimulus. So what is the first stimulus that we got is COVID-19 that acted as a stimulus all over the world, right? I think I'm pretty clear. Now I know that what is boggling inside your mind, that who are the countries, the fortunate countries, those may get investment. I'm telling you. Don't be disappointed. Maximum investment will again go to the US and the European market. And there is no doubt about it. Whatever allegations we made against China, investment will go to China as well. So I keep them as number two. Number three, South America. Investment will go there. Number four, African countries. Lot of investment will go there. And I keep India along with the African countries in the same tier. Now the question I know that I'm going to face, why India is number four, why US and Europe, those are number one, for the number one choice for the investors. I tell you, we all know, but I am telling you again. The so-called Babu Dom, the lasso of red tape, corruption, it is still prevailing in India and other underdeveloped countries. Right? We all know that. It's an open secret. There's no secrecy in that. We all know that. Even people who are doing business, being Indians in India, they are also suffering from similar, issues, right? So we all know that. So if really we want to go to the number one, we have to reform the system that is prevailing since the British times. We have to come out of it, clean that particular part. Right? I'm very sure there are a lot of queries, so I expect a lot of comments and a lot of questions in the YouTube comment section, right? And we can discuss. I will try to answer those queries. Whatever I told is based on the facts that we all know. So I have not told anything which is unknown to us. Few things are predicted. So, prediction, there is always a percentage of error, but prediction is also important. So, what is the summary? Summary is that most probably all over the world, the economic cycle is now standing and waiting for takeoff. It's a trough. We are waiting on the tarmac to take off. It's a tough situation because of COVID, right? And I'm very sure we will take off to the expansion cycle and to reach the peak of business, right? So, all the best to you. Stay safe and stay healthy. Take care. Keep smiling.